Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters. Today we're in Kotor, Montenegro. We're outside one of the city gates here. Really kind of a cute town to check out. And the thing is, here they actually use euros in Montenegro, even though they're not in the European Union, or they're not in the Eurozone or anything like that. And so it got me thinking, what are some of the money issues that travelers like yourself and I face when we do travel? So I want to kind of talk about a few things, because people have asked me some of these things. Now, first thing, overall in general, Europe, you can use cash pretty much anywhere, and a lot of countries really prefer that. And what I've seen is when you have smaller purchases, things under like 10 euros, they always prefer cash. I mean, almost always. Sometimes in the north you don't have it as much, but cash is really the king currency here in Europe. Now the thing is the euro, whether it's euro or sterling or kuna in Croatia, no one likes the big bills. They like the smaller bills, okay? So if you're gonna pay for something and the ATM only gives you 50s or 100 euro bills out, people don't usually like taking those because they don't want to make the change, especially going to a place like Portugal or Spain where things are a lot cheaper. People might not have the change to break it, so you want to have smaller bills no matter where you are. Now the thing is, when you're using cash in Europe, you want to be careful, because sometimes when you go to countries where they don't use the euro, they might try to trick you with using some of the other currencies. You're not sure, so always familiarize yourself with the currency of the countries you're going to be going to before you go, so you have an idea what it's going to look like. So you know the euro coins, they're different on the back side, but the front side is the same no matter where you go. And the thing is, with cash, it's easy to use everywhere, but you don't want to carry too much cash with you when you do travel, because it makes you a target. That's one of the reasons why a lot of Chinese tourists now have become targets for the pickpockets and bag thieves and stuff like that, because they tend to carry a lot of cash with them. You don't want to make yourself that target. So what I do is I use a combination of cash and credit cards or debit cards. And the thing is, here in Europe, Visa and MasterCard were pretty much accepted everywhere. Like almost every restaurant I've gone to and stuff like that, it is accepted. American Express is sometimes accepted. Diners Club or Discover, hardly ever. So you want to make sure you have a Visa or a MasterCard if you're going to be traveling here in Europe for the money kind of stuff. Another thing you want to look at is, should I use my debit card or my credit card? Well, what I would say is, if you're going to be getting out cash, your best bet is to use your debit card from your local bank back home. So make sure you get a PIN number from them and get that PIN number and take money out from the ATM wherever you're going, because in general, not all the time, but in general, you get the best exchange rate with the lowest amount of fees when you use your debit card from your local bank. It'll have like a MasterCard or a Visa on it too. You'll use that and you'll get a better exchange rate. Another thing, when you're using ATMs, if your ATM or a place where you're shopping offers you the option to, oh, we can already convert it into dollars or US dollars or Australian dollars or pounds or whatever, you do not want to take that option, because they're going to be making a few more percentage points on that. Your best exchange rate option is just to take the charge in the local currency and then let your bank or American Express or Visa or MasterCard, whoever, let them do the currency exchange, because you usually get a better rate. I know we were in the Czech Republic last year, and it was literally a 10% difference between what they're automatically change it into versus letting my bank back home change it. So you can actually save a lot of money doing that. So don't use the we'll do the conversion for you, okay? Another thing with money when you are here, if you're going to be traveling and using your cards, make sure you contact your banks, okay? Your debit card from your local bank, call them up to let them know where you're going. If you've got a Visa or MasterCard, American Express, let them know as well. I know, like, American Express says, it's okay, you don't have to call it, it'll be fine. We have our own checks and balances, which is fine, but I always feel better to do that. I know with my Visa, I call them up, put the dates in, everything works fine. The thing is, they still may think that if you're traveling too much, they might put a hold on your card, which can be very scary. That happened to me once when I was in Switzerland, and I'm like, I have no money and my card isn't working. What's going on here? I made the phone call, get everything set up, so that was one thing. That's why I'd say is, make sure you write down the phone numbers to your credit cards, so if they do get stolen or lost or something like that, or they're not working, you can make that phone call very easily to get everything set up again. I will say that if your card gets stolen, sometimes it's hard to get a new card back to you. I know when I had a card issue, they're like, oh, we'll get a card to you in 5 to 6 days. I'm like, I'm backpacking to Europe. I have no idea where I'm going to be in 5 to 6 days. So you might look at those options out there for that. Another thing is, if you look at traveler's checks has pretty much disappeared from the travel landscape. People don't really use them. You don't see them accepted as often as you used to. So your best bet is to not to use those things. However, if you want to use a prepaid card, maybe a Visa or a MasterCard or something, you can preload those so that actually they'll work when you're abroad, and that can help you set a limit on your payments. Also, if your card gets stolen, you can call them up and they can refund whatever balance is left on those prepaid cards. That's why you have to register them, all those things, in case something happens. Another thing with money is, if you're going to be traveling a lot, like I come to Europe a couple times a year, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, we come a lot. I always keep some extra currency with me before when I go back home. I don't exchange it back into dollars because I know I'm going to use it again. However, for example, I was in Poland a few weeks ago filming, and I knew, well, I probably won't get back to Poland anytime soon. So probably not a good idea to keep a bunch of sweaties left. So I try to use everything up. So I was buying food and things like that. But I also thought, is how much cash do I really need when I'm traveling? And so I got enough money for like food and drinks, because that's what they like when you go and pay at restaurants. I got enough cash for that versus having cash for everything when I was traveling. So I tend to use my card most often, but then I do have something to get some cash out to pay things. Now, some other issues you might see with the ATMs, in some countries like in Italy, you want to make sure you have a chip card. If your bank is not giving you a chip card yet, you want to get one, because places like Italy, if you try to go to an ATM late at night, some of them make you put a chip card in to unlock the door. And if you don't have a chip card, they will not let you in. I remember a couple years ago, I was in Italy and I'm like begging people, could you just open the door for me? I will stand on the other side of the street. You do it, hold it open. I will run to get in there in time. So that's one thing you might want to look at. Also, the ATMs here in Europe, when you do that, they always have multiple languages, okay? English will always be one of the languages. No matter where you go, whether it's Spain, Germany, Russia, English usually pops up as one of the options. And a lot of other languages like German or French or Spanish, depending where you are. So that is very nice. For my Chinese viewers, Union Pay is becoming more and more accepted throughout Europe as well. So that's kind of nice. So then you don't have to take all the cash out there, but do kind of check it out. I see the Union Pay is more available in more like the Parises and Romes, where there's lots of Chinese tourists, versus smaller places like Kotor here in Montenegro. Another thing, if you're going to have cash, what I recommend is have it split up in multiple locations, like not like 20 throughout everything, but have some cash with you that you're coming out during the day. Maybe have some of the cash stashed back away at the hotel, maybe hidden in the safe that's back at the hotel, or maybe in your luggage or something like that. So in case something does happen, you do have some kind of hidden money left. And that's one thing, is I always have like a little stash. Maybe I'll have like 50 euros in my wallet, like stashed away. So if I spend all my other money, I know I have that emergency fund to get me a taxi back to my hotel or something like that. So you might want to look at those things. Another thing with the money here in Europe, the coins. The coins in Europe are actually worth something. You know, in the US, we have it starts at $1 and goes up. Well, they have coins here in Europe that go €1 and €2, and that's a €2 coin is over $2 for a coin. And so you'll see people like, oh, these coins are worthless. No. When you remember when you were a little kid and you collect all the coins in your house, you get a big jar like this, it'll be like $60 maybe. But you do that here in Euro, this could be like 600 euros worth of coins. So don't just throw your coins away, because they are worth more here. And so, you know, if you have a handful, you want to try to use those, because when you travel back abroad and you want to exchange money, they only usually accept bills, not coins. So try to spend those so you don't have too much. But the thing is with those coins, like my wife does, she keeps 2 coins from every country we go to, one for each of the boys, and she wants to make a necklace for them one day, or a keychain with all the coins, and say, look, these are the places we went as a family, so don't screw up when you're at college. We got a few years till that happens, but that's one of the things she does. And it's a nice, easy little souvenir. Also with your kids, it's kind of fun when they take it to school and show the different monies and stuff like that, so that's kind of nice. Anyway, so those are just some things about money in Europe. I hope that helps you out. If you want to learn more about traveling in Europe or around the world, please check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we really appreciate your likes, subscriptions, and we hope you have a great time traveling in Europe or anywhere in the world, and you do spend your money smartly, but do enjoy it. Help out these economies. It makes a difference, okay? Bye from Montenegro. Hey, guess what? I'm no longer wherever I just was. That's right, I'm actually in Poland right now. If you want to watch other travel videos like the one you just watched, click over here. If you want to watch our latest video, click over there. And if you want to see me, like at least twice a week, like on a regular date, click that subscribe button wherever it is, and you'll get new travel videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And maybe I'll throw in one extra, just because we got a special relationship.